doing a full body workout for muscle building. Now, in that workout, we're gonna be doing what's called high volume. Now, what does that mean? It means we're going to be doing multiple sets of each exercise. Now, I wish there was a way around this, but it turns out that that's the best way of building muscle and reaching your genetic potential. I used to do workouts where it was one set workouts for each exercise, and I just never got the muscle building that I wanted to. So if you are like me and want to build muscle as fast as you can, then multiple sets, high volume workouts are the way to go. So if that sounds good to you, hit that like button for me to let me know you want more content like this. So this is going to be a follow along workout. We're going to be doing it together. If you have questions, let me know. So we're going to start with a warm up. So for that, I'm grabbing a pair of dumbbells. We're going to start out using dumbbells for a chest press. Now, I like using dumbbells instead of a barbell because I find that my sides are more balanced then. I don't have my weaker side compensating for my stronger side. For this, for the chest press, I like to do a bench chest press or some people call it a chest press, some people call it a dumbbell bench press. No matter what you call it though, it's gonna be working the pectorals and that tricep, and a little bit of that anterior deltoid as well. So for this, I'm grabbing a dumbbell that's about 10 pounds lighter than I would normally work out with to warm up. That gets blood flow into my chest muscle where I'm not going in cold. So for this, I still wanna keep good technique. So for that, I'm gonna have my hands right over the top of my shoulders and my chest pushed out. So I'm pinching my shoulder blades together, pushing my chest out towards the front. From here, I'm going to bend my elbows, bringing my hands down to my chest, going as deep as I can down towards my chest. Doing about 10 reps of these. Now I'm letting that elbow really drop down, really bend all the way, because that's going to do two things. It's going to really put tension through my tricep, the muscle in the back of my arm, and it's also going to really put tension through that chest a ton too. And that tension is what's going to help grow that muscle. So since I want to do a full range of motion in my workout, doing that full range of motion in my warm-up as well. I'm keeping my hands wide at my shoulder width, so I'm not letting my hands touch together, keeping them right over the top of my shoulders. And 10. That was my warm-up set, so that shouldn't be strenuous yet. If it is tiring, you're going too heavy on your warm-up. So, I like to do a specific warm-up where I'm working the muscles I'm gonna be using. Now and I always like to pair exercises together. So if I'm working the chest, I'm also working the muscles in the back. So I do two exercises together. So for the complement to the chest, I like to do the lats. So for this, I'm gonna be doing pull-ups, but for my warm-up, I like to do pull downs instead, because it's hard to set up pull-ups for a warm-up, but the pull down will do the same muscles, just a little bit less intensity. So I like to kneel. I use a resistance band, hanging, so I'm trying to bring my hands about shoulder width apart, and where I have tension at the top of the movement. So I'm gonna reach and grab as high as I can on that resistance band. From here, I'm gonna pull down, same movement as a pull-up, pulling down, pinching my shoulder blades together and down, and then back up to where I'm fully extended. So I don't wanna come to here where I'm only partway up. I wanna really let those shoulders rise, pulling me up towards the front. So I'm putting my chest up to the bar, pulling down, doing about 10 of these. I should feel the muscles in my shoulders warming up, working a little bit, but again, it shouldn't be strenuous yet. Just getting some blood flow into those muscles. And relax. I like this because I'm gonna be doing an assisted pull-up. So I'm using the same band that I would be assisted by to warm up with. So now we're gonna go into our working set. Now, what that means, if you don't know, is the first set we start counting for actually building muscle. So we do warm-up sets, those don't count for your total sets, and then we do working sets. I try and aim for 2 to 3 working sets for each muscle that we're doing today. So 2 to 3 for maintenance, and more than that for trying to really build the muscle. Now, you will probably build muscle no matter how many sets you do, but you'll build more muscle and faster, reaching more of your genetic potential if you do more sets. So, going to our dumbbell bench press or dumbbell chest press. I like to put the dumbbells on my knees so I can kick them up into position so they're right over the top of my shoulders. Now I'm trying for about 10 reps, so I want to pick a weight that's challenging at 10, doing a full range of motion. So starting right over the top of my shoulders, going down to all the way down to my chest and back up. Now my elbows can go down a little bit, especially if it feels uncomfortable on your shoulder, where I sort of see how I'm angled just slightly. That's okay to do, as long as you're going all the way down to your chest. The other thing I like about dumbbells is I can actually get these lower, where I really get that high tension, where normally the barbell would stop me right here at my chest. And relax. All right, moving to a pull-up. I'm doing an assisted pull-up. Now I found I can do pull-ups, but I can't do enough pull-ups for the rep ranges I want. So for that, I'm adding a band. This takes away some of the resistance from gravity. So gravity, I'm using my body weight as my resistance. So to change that, I have to use a band to help assist that. I really like that for this though, because it lets me actually aim for a little bit higher rep range so I can get closer to muscle failure. So pulling my shoulders all the way from a hang up to where my forehead is at the bar. I'm trying to keep my hands at shoulder width. Nine and 10, and relax. Now, the band lets me control a lot more, get a lot more precisely closer to failure. Let's say I could only do 2 reps without the band, 2 pull-ups, which is still pretty decent for some people, or it's still pretty decent on average, I should say. Let's say I could only get 2 reps and I could do half of one, that's gonna be so much harder to get close to failure where I'm leaving gains on the table. Whereas if I do 10 reps with an assist, I can actually get much closer to that maximum muscle building point where I'm within 1 or 2 reps of muscle failure. So that's why I really like using the bands. It allows for a much more precise movement and calibration for you. And it also lets you get through that full range of motion much more effectively. All right, going back into our dumbbell bench press. So I used to do these differently, where I would only go down to about here and then come back up. And I've found since that going down to that really deep tension point, where you go all the way down to here and back up, I had to start with a lighter weight to get down that deep. However, I'm actually doing much better for my shoulders and my joints by going deep like that with a lighter weight rather than half range with a heavier weight, because I'm actually making my body more resilient in those rep ranges. So, or in that, not rep range, but in that range of motion. So my body is getting stronger even in that really deep stretch. And 10, and relax. So in that position, get that, I can feel that stretch where I'm not only strengthening the muscle, but strengthening it in a stretched position. A lot of people have really tight chest muscles where they're sort of walking around like this, and actually going through that full range of motion stretches out that chest muscle so you're not hunched forward. So I used to stretch my chest all the time because it was always tight, and I found that doing that full range of motion really helps not only strengthen these muscles, but also keep them flexible, and my shoulders feel so much better having done that. Now, I still think stretching the chest is a great idea, but I need to do it so much less now, just because I'm already I'm stretching it in a strengthened position, or strengthening it in a stretched position. So I'm really building that range of motion as well as strength. All right, going for that pull-up, trying for 10. That's the same thing with these. I try and really go to a full hang, which stretches the lats, and then pull up, and then back to a full hang to really let those lats open up, really stretch out. And that's where you build the most muscle, is down here, not up here. And 10, and relax. Sorry if that was a little loud. Oh, I don't know if you guys can see this, but I've got this mark across my hand where the bar is. I haven't quite figured out a way to not get that where my hands are really burning by the end of it. If you have a suggestion for how to get pull-ups where you don't get that mark across your hand, where it's all that pressure, let me know. So My degree is in exercise science, and that was a really good foundation for a lot of the scientific principles in the physiology and the anatomy. And then I took that and I've kept on building to that. So I listen and try and pull in things that people say and incorporate it. And because a lot of times you'll find out really good pieces of advice where people figured out ways of doing the exercise more effectively and figured out little tips and things that don't make it into textbooks, but make a big difference in how the exercise feels and things like the pull-ups where someone might figure out a way to do that pull-up where it's not digging into your hand, and that lets you build up your lats more. So if you have any advice, I'd love to hear it if you want to share it, where we could pass it on to the community. So going back for our third set of chest press. Now doing, again, multiple sets is the way to build that muscle faster. If you just did one set in the workout, it's good. It's not a bad place to start, but if you can, getting 2 or 3 or even 4 sets in a workout of that same exercise will build that muscle faster. So if you're looking to build muscle quickly, you can't get around doing multiple sets. That's gonna get you there faster, and that's where I would like to be. I'd like to build as much muscle as I can. My goal is to have a 6-pack by 40. So that's gonna be 2 things. I've been talking about the pillars of fitness. I think getting your nutrition right, your workouts right, and your sleep right are the 3 ways to do that. So I've been working out 3 times a week, which I always do live. So if you want to join me for those live workouts, I host them Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 11 a.m. Pacific time. So I do all of the workouts I'm doing to build muscle on stream. 7, 8, 9, and 10. Now outside of stream, I am walking every day, not really intensely, just trying to get in between 8,000 and 10,000 steps minimum every day. So that's technically exercise, but not really. So it's not like dedicated exercise. I'm doing all of my dedicated exercise on stream. So if you're looking for results similar to what I'm getting, or you want to join me on that journey, then hit that subscribe button and the bell icon to be here live, or to watch the workouts. They'll all be posted to YouTube, and you can watch them there as well. All right, so that was set number 3 of bench press or chest press. I've heard that exercise called both. Now we're gonna do one more set of pull-ups. So this is an assisted pull-up with the band. Now, since this is the 3rd set, I might not be able to get to 10. I'm just going until I feel tired in that muscle. So tired in the lats, tired in between my shoulder blades, in those middle and lower traps, mostly in the lower traps, that bottom diamond of your shoulder. So chest up, pinching the shoulder blades down and back, pulling up to my forehead, and then all the way back down. 6, 7, and 8. That's as far as I can go today. Oh, So third set, I only did 8 reps, but I hit that muscle fatigue point. That's always what I'm looking for. I'm not trying to get tied up in a number. And especially with pull-ups, I find my last set usually is the most challenging, where I lose a couple reps, and that's okay. The important part is that you feel challenged in the muscle. Where you might feel that tension, that pulling sensation in your lats, or you feel a little bit of that burning, that lactic acid, or that fatigue in your muscle. Either of those is fine. It's a good indicator that you're actually promoting muscle growth. So, now what we're gonna do is shift down to the muscles in the arms. So we're gonna do more isolation movements in the tricep, bicep, and then some of that deltoid. So we're gonna do a pair of exercises for that. So for this, I'm gonna drop the dumbbell down in weight. Smaller muscles working with this. So I'm gonna bring my hands up to the top of my shoulders. Now I want my hands to be wide, so that's right at the edge of my shoulder. This is gonna be an overhead press. This works primarily the deltoid muscle and that tricep in the back of the arm. So from here, I'm gonna look up towards the ceiling. I'm gonna press my hands straight up. I'm not letting them come together over the top of my head. They're staying out over the top of my shoulders, and then back down. I'm trying to go all the way down, tap my shoulder, and then up. Now this works primarily that front part of the deltoid, that what's called the anterior deltoid. Nine and 10. And relax. So the deltoid has 3 pieces of it. Imagine sort of 3 fingers of muscle. So you've got the posterior in the back, the middle deltoid, and the anterior deltoid or front deltoid. And this works more that front deltoid, the front of that shoulder. All right, so we've got that for our tricep. Now, let me move this just a little bit. Now we're gonna do an incline curl. Now for this, something I really like about this movement, the bicep muscle goes from here at the top of your shoulder down into the middle of your arm. Now a standard curl, if I'm up like this, stretches this muscle at the elbow down, just this part down here. But putting it into an incline where I'm like this, now I'm also stretching it at the top up here. So I'm maximizing that full muscle length tension. Now to do that, you might need to do a lighter dumbbell. I'm gonna try it with the 20s and see if that's gonna be the right weight for me. So I'm gonna bring my elbows into my sides, so my hands are out in front of me slightly. My back is flat against that bench. I'm gonna bring it down and then back up. I think I can do this with the 20s. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, that's good. That's about the max I can do. 10. So it should be tiring by the end. Now, important thing on this, I'm actually going, when I extend, I go out towards the front, not down like this, okay? So this, I'm just hanging here. I can do this for a long time. Here, I'm actually putting stretch on the muscle if I bring it a little bit forward. So, make sure you're not letting it just go straight towards the ground where it's just hanging off your shoulder. You want to have it like this so it's on that muscle at its maximum tension. Whew. This muscle grows because of tension and because of metabolic stress. So that burning in that muscle or that tension as you feel that muscle stretch are two ways that your body signals to grow that muscle. So I'm trying to really maximize that. That has always been a hard muscle for me to isolate, is that bicep. With the curl, I would oftentimes feel it more in my forearm than I did in my bicep. The things that have made the difference are my elbow position and how I'm orienting to gravity. So leaning back just a little bit really keeps that high tension in that muscle. And that's what's made the biggest difference for me. And so where I've seen my biceps start to grow much more this year, I'm really emphasizing it by adding extra sets to that muscle. So I'm doing repeated exercises for the bicep more often every week. So now going back to our overhead press for our second set. So I'm gonna bring my hands to my shoulders, pushing up towards the ceiling. Trying to go all the way back down, tap my shoulders, and go back up. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Should feel tiring by 10. Now, if you're liking these workouts and want to see more, hit that like button for me to let me know you want more content like this. Now, if you're looking for any of the gear that I have here, I have affiliate links down below that help support the channel. It doesn't cost you any extra, but if you want the gear that I have, I provide those so it's easy to find. If you have any questions about how to use the equipment you have and adapt it for your workout, let me know. I have used quite a variety of equipment. I'm just gonna take a moment, feel a little bit lightheaded. So we're gonna wait before going into a second set of bicep curl. So I want to really be able to focus on the movement. A lot of people don't realize how cognitive working out is. It's actually tiring on your nerves as well. So it's your brain and your nerves can be tired. A lot of strength, like what's called powerlifting, is actually very neurologically driven as well as muscularly. So it's not just the muscles, it's the wiring going to those muscles as well. All right, so doing an incline curl for our second set. So starting with your hands out in front of you slightly, elbows tucked in at your sides, going down, or not down, but straightening to bring your hands out slightly in front of you, where you're creating that tension through the entire bicep, all the way up through the front of your shoulder. This is a great stretch for that bicep. I like having my back against the bench like this because it also eliminates any sort of cheating in the movement. And 10. See your comment? Just give me a second. Hello, you reading chats? Yeah, sometimes I'm a little bit slow on reading the chat, but I am here. Good to see you. Welcome to the live stream. Sorry, I'm just a little bit slow sometimes because the screen is a little far away for me. But yeah, I am here reading chats. Welcome. Glad you guys are here. How much can I bench press? I don't know. I don't tend to do 1 rep maximums. I use 40-pound dumbbells for reps, trying for a really deep stretch. So I used to do bench press. Where I would come down to here and then back up. Now I try and do that full range bench press where I'm really getting that deep stretch, and I use the 40-pound dumbbells for that. So 40 pounds each hand. It's less weight, but I try and do it for reps. All right, so going for overhead press. Right now I do 10 reps. 10 reps for, we did 10 reps, 3 sets. So going wide grip, or right wide to the outside of your shoulders, pressing up towards the ceiling. I like to go for 10 reps for every exercise and just pick a dumbbell that's challenging for that rep range. 9 and 10. So with this workout, we're focusing on exercises to strengthen and build the muscles in the arms especially. So we did some chest and back. Now we're working into the muscles of the bicep and tricep. So the reason we go that low on the overhead press is because we're trying to push through the full range of motion. If I stopped here, I'm limiting how much tension I'm putting in that muscle. Going all the way down, I'm putting that muscle under its maximum length. As long as you feel comfortable in your shoulder, if it's a little bit painful in your shoulder, you can adjust your elbow position a little forward, but I would encourage you to go through that full range of motion, because this bottom portion is actually where you build the most muscle, and it also makes you more injury resistant. So sometimes you have to drop the weight a little bit to maximize the tension in the muscle. And long term, you'll actually grow more muscle. It's like I've started going to the gym in the last 3 months. I'm thinking about doing a 25-pound dumbbell, 25 kilogram, dumbbell tomorrow. Like now it's doing 20 kilogram dumbbells for 3 sets of 12, 11, and 10. So that's really good. I'm glad you're doing that. I would say going from 20 to 25 is a pretty big jump in weight. You might go from 20 kilograms to 22 if they have the in-between weights. Cool, thanks. Hey, that was a good question. I like your question. For bench press. Yeah, so 20, I would say if you're doing 20 now, I would try to go, like, if you can, I don't know the kilograms if they make the 21s or 22s, but I would aim for just adding a kilogram or 2 at a time, building that up with the same rep range. So if you can add, don't have 22 kilo, okay. So that's fine. What I would do instead of trying to go the 25, is increase your rep range. So instead of doing 12, 11, and 10, You could do 13, 12, 11 and add 1 rep to it, because that will also build you muscle. So it's been studied where you can either increase your reps or increase the weight, and both are an effective way of building more muscle. They're equally effective as long as you are challenging that muscle. Hey, thank you. You're explaining it very well, Gregory. I appreciate you saying that. Thank you for your kind words. Let's see, where was I? I think we were on bicep curl. So I'm trying to apply the same principles I'm teaching. My degree is in exercise science, which gave me a foundation for a lot of this. And then I'm also try and listen and hear the advice people give and incorporate that into how I train too. Because as long as it is sound advice, I'm careful about who I listen to, but I do try and incorporate good advice into what I do, because a lot of people have found little tricks and things that help that don't necessarily make it into textbooks, but they make a big difference in your workout. Eight, 9, and 10. Like for this exercise, I went through tons of biomechanics and things like that, but the thing that really made this exercise click for me is listening to someone talk about it, say, which way is gravity pointing? It's going down. So if my hand is back here, gravity is not actually putting any pressure on that bicep. So that's when I started doing this movement out towards the front rather than down here like this. And that's what's made all the difference in how much my bicep has been growing. I've noticed a ton more bicep growth doing it that way. That was just a small piece of advice someone gave me. Join the stream as a joke, and now I'm entering as a sub. Hey, welcome, glad to have you. Thank you for your subscription. Just gonna take a quick second. So our goal here is to work out together, to be on this fitness journey and make progress together. Hey, because you're explaining really good. I appreciate you saying that. And I appreciate you being here. So I host these live streams Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 11 a.m. Pacific time. I do all of my workouts live on stream because I'm doing the same things I'm teaching, trying to show that in practice. So changes don't happen overnight, but they do, it does make a difference over time. So I want to show that and be really just genuine about what changes to expect. So I don't have the best genetics for physique, but I'm doing everything I can to grow stronger, to build larger muscles and show people how to do that. And if it works for me, it can work for you too. And 10. That was set number 3. Kind soul, hey, thank you so much. Looking good. What are you training today? I saw shoulders and biceps till now. So we started out we did dumbbell bench press and pull-ups. I do assisted pull-ups, so I used a resistance band to help assist with pull-ups to be able to get to 10, so I can really get close to that muscle failure. And then after we do biceps and shoulder press, then we're gonna move into some legs and abs. So we're doing full body today. So a lot of upper body and then finishing out with some lower body and core. Shoulders and arms, how long have you been training? So training like this, where I used to do single set training, which I was muscularly healthy, but training like this, I started, let's see, when did I start? It's all live on stream, so you could go back and look. But within the past year or two, I started doing multiple sets and really figuring out how to dial that in for myself to make it work more effectively. It took a little bit of trial and error figuring out how much I could do in a workout. So I'm still in the process of making it better and better for myself, but probably within the last year or so. All right, keep up the work. Hey, thank you so much. I appreciate your encouragement. Yeah, it's just within the last, let's see, about 6 months. So this year I started working more at bulking and cutting. I was always a little bit worried about adding weight to my diet. So I struggle with that of like, oh man, I don't really want to have any larger of a stomach. I want to really just keep on losing weight. But I was actually making it hard for myself to build muscle because I was trying to thin out to get a smaller stomach. Now I have a plan. So every 2 months, I alternate between building muscle and losing weight. So I'm trying to build muscle during 2 months and then lose fat while maintaining muscle for 2 months. So I found that's a big thing that I was missing, is I had the workout part of this, but not the nutrition part of this down. So I've added more protein and really started tracking everything I eat. And that's made a big difference in how much muscle I can build. And relax. So I've got one more set to do of arms, and then we're gonna move to some legs. So I am 6'1", and right now I'm about 217 pounds. So I'm not cutting right now. Right now I'm bulking for another month, and then I'm gonna go, so I do 2 months of bulking and 2 months of cutting, where I'm trying to gain 4 pounds of muscle, then lose 8 pounds of fat and I'm gonna try and do that for this next year at 2 months at a time. So that's a hard thing for me to actually get past. I of 2 months of bulking, because I don't like seeing fat here, but I know it's actually long-term gonna be beneficial for me. So that's why I have that plan. Tomorrow I'll be trying 25 kilogram dumbbells and update you. Hey, good luck, do your best. Just make sure you're doing it safely. I'd love to hear how it goes for you. Is UNC uncle? Will admire you. Where am I from? I'm in the United States, in California. 6'1", definitely you look crazy after the bulk and cut. You're from, you're from Brazil. Welcome, glad you're here. Now, part of the difficulty I've had, especially with squats, is I'm very tall, so I find it's much easier for me to hurt my low back on squats. So I'll show you in just a second how I get around that, where I use a slightly different weight setup for squats so I can protect my low back. UNC is uncle in a Gen Z way. Oh, okay, very cool. So that's what I thought it was. I just wanted to check. And Utsa, hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly, is from India. Wow, India, very cool. I don't use Instagram. I just am on YouTube. Nothing against Instagram, I don't do Instagram, I don't do Facebook. So, doing overhead press, pushing up towards the ceiling. 7, 8, 9, and oh gosh, 10. That 10th one snuck up on me. Just all of a sudden got harder. But that's good. That means I'm getting close to that muscle failure. If it wasn't the 4th set, I probably wouldn't go quite that close to muscle failure because I want to try and build up muscle building without a ton of fatigue. I am 38. So my goal is to try and get a 6-pack by 40. Got a little over a year to do that. So if you are looking for a similar goal where you're trying to build up muscle or you're trying to lose fat and you want someone to be along with you for that journey, hit that subscribe button. We can be here to encourage one another. If you have any questions or tips or things that have worked well for you, I'd love to hear about them. Definitely let me know how going to the 25 kilograms, I keep saying pounds, but it's actually not pounds. Let me know how that 25 kilogram press does. Just make sure you don't hurt yourself. Felt the 10th one. Yeah, I felt the 10th one too. You thought it was like 25. Hey, thank you so much. A lot of people think I'm younger than I am for some reason. Hopefully that's a good thing. So I've stayed pretty active through my life. There was a brief period of time where I had not brief, but there was a period of time where I had a desk job, and I found that's what really aged me. I started to gain weight and live not so healthily. Now I try and be a lot more active. Nine, and oh gosh, 10, and relax. Whew. Yep. Yeah, there was a period of time where I was working in marketing, and I have nothing against that job. I just found for me, it was not a good fit where I was sitting in a desk most of the day, and I found it really started affecting my health negatively. I was just not thriving doing that. So I went back into health and fitness. All right, now we're gonna do some lower body, and then we'll finish out with core. So for squats, I found for me, if I had the weight up here and I was trying to do squats, it was really hard on my lower back. So now what I do instead is I do high rep squats instead. So I have the dumbbells down here by my legs, and I do high reps. So I do over 15 reps, trying to get over that. And I just go until I feel tired in my quads in the front of my thigh. So if you're someone who has low back pain, this is a great alternative for you of not putting a ton of extra pressure on your low back while still getting a great burn in your legs. Goodbye, it's 1 a.m. Oh wow, it's late. Have a good night. Hope you get some rest. Sleep is absolutely important. I want to see if you do reverse dumbbell curls. I don't know why. Do reverse dumbbell curls. What's a reverse dumbbell curl? Actually, I don't know that name. Is that doing like this, where you're up here? Or are you saying incline, where I'm leaning back, doing like this? Have to let me know what reverse, I'll have to look it up after the stream. So doing dumbbell squats, hands at your sides, bending the knees like you're sitting down. I'm trying to keep my chest up. So I'm not bending forward. I'm trying to drop straight down to where I'm putting all that on my quads and the front of my thigh. I see your message, I'll read it in just a moment. I found these help protect my low back while still working my legs, getting that burn in the legs. I don't need to worry about really heavy dumbbells over the top of my neck. So if I ever get in a position where I can't get back up, I can just drop the dumbbells on the ground and it's not gonna hurt anything. So if you are training alone, this is a much safer option than having it over the top of your neck. Okay. Just to reverse your wrist position. Oh, okay, so an overhand. So doing a curl like this, where you're going up towards the front. So doing that, you get more of that brachialis underneath the bicep. So you've got the bicep brachii on the top and underneath the brachialis. So if I flip my hand like this, I'm reducing this muscle, that bicep brachii. So this muscle underneath has to do a lot more work. Yeah, it's a good exercise. I do like it. Right now, I found for me, I really like doing the combination of just a standard curl, because that way I'm hitting both the brachialis and the biceps brachii, as I'm really trying to build both at the moment. Man, legs are always so killer. I can feel that really burning across my quads. So I know for some people, the squats really hit the glutes a lot. For me, I always felt it more in my quads. So I like to add an extra exercise for the glutes to build up that butt muscle. And I found the thing that really works for me is a body weight exercise called a single leg bridge, or a single leg hip bridge. So what you do is you have your feet about shoulder width apart, bring one leg up. Now, if this is too intense, you can always do this with two legs at the start. So pushing your hips up towards the front, drawing your belly button in towards your spine. You should feel that back here in the back of your thigh and hips. So you can push up and back down. If that's too easy though, one leg up and then pushing up towards the front. You should feel that in the back of your hip, back of that thigh, back of that hip. I'm gonna do 10 each side. Now I'm starting with my left leg, because I'm right-handed. Just in case I can't get to 10, I'm gonna match however many reps I did on my right leg now. So I did 10, so I'm gonna do 10 on the right side as well. And that's gonna really emphasize these muscles in the back of the thigh and hip. So to reduce glute fat, so unfortunately, it's not gonna be an exercise that reduces the fat in the area. It's gonna be a diet change. So reducing your total calories will cause you to lose fat a little bit everywhere. Now, where you lose fat from depends on your genetics more than anything, So it might be that goes first, it might be that goes last. I don't know, there's no way to know what your genetics will do, but what you can do is you can do this exercise to increase the amount of muscle in the area. So say you have this amount of fat and this amount of muscle, it might look a little more flabby. Now, if you build the muscle up, suddenly you have equal amounts of fat and muscle. It might look a little more toned. Doesn't mean you've lost any fat. It just means it's more in balance. So that's part of it. Now, if you can get that fat to go down, then suddenly you have more muscle than fat and it can look really toned and buff. So it's a combination of diet will help reduce that fat, exercise will help build that muscle. So if you do both, where you're bringing that fat down and bringing that muscle up, that would be the way I would say to really get better glute definition. If you're on a bulk, I think cardio is best. So if you are on a bulk, I would emphasize resistance training, because what that does is for your muscle, when you do resistance training, whether that's weights, cables, kettlebells, elastic bands, anything like that, it activates an enzyme in your muscle that increases the insulin sensitivity of your muscle. So it pulls all the calories, all the nutrients, more towards your muscle and less to your fat. So the more you work out and work at resistance training, the more insulin sensitive your muscles become. And so it pulls all those sugars into the muscle and stores them as glycogen. I'll explain again. I will do resistance band training you just showed. Hey, very good. I'm glad. So that's, even if we're on a cut, we want to pull the nutrients into the muscle still to maintain that muscle size, because we want to lose fat, not lose muscle. Same thing with bulk. We want to bulk into our muscle, not our fat. So that's why we add a little bit of extra calories and really emphasize those muscles. All right, doing a second set of squats. You have very good questions. I really like how you're asking questions. Those are all really well thought out questions too. I know for me, it took a little while of figuring out how many calories I needed during a bulk. The first bulk I did, I was eating a bit too many calories. And actually, the very first one I did, I ate way too many calories, where I gained several pounds of fat over a weekend. And that was not good at all. So now I try and be a much more lean bulking. And what that means is I'm only eating about 250 extra calories over maintenance. So for me, being 6'1", that is about 3,200 calories per day. And relax. So I went lean bulk, yeah, exactly. When I'm cutting weight, I eat about 2,500 calories, which might sound like a lot of calories, but that's the number for me, for my height and my weight. That's how much my body needs to lose a pound of weight every week. Now that number will be different for you, or different depending on your height and size. Usually you want to take your body weight in pounds and multiply it times 15, and that gives you a rough estimate of calories per day. Did I grow after 18? Not really, actually. I was a pretty early mature, so I have been this size since about 7th grade. So same weight too. I was this heavy and this tall. So I will say being this tall can be nice, but it's also a little inconvenient too. I knew an athlete when I was interning at university. There was an athlete there that was 7'2", which that's about this tall compared to me. So he was incredibly tall. He had to actually duck to go under doors, and it was hard for him to find a bed that would fit him. Yeah, at junior high, I definitely had more of a belly, and now I've definitely pulled that in. I think I'm actually healthier at 38 than I was at 18. Yeah. So as a volleyball player who is 7'2", is very tall. All right, where was I? Okay, we're gonna do our second set of glute bridges. And then we'll move to some core. So, starting with my left leg, right leg up, pushing down through my heel, bridging my hips up towards the front. 5, 6, I'm trying for 10 reps. 7, 8, 9, all the way back down to the ground, and 10. Oh, same thing on the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And my goal is to be fitter at 40 than I am now. So, it's all hard work, Uncle. Thank you. I appreciate it. And that's why I want to help show that it's work, but it's still manageable. We can still do it together. It's not some training 5 times a day for 5 hours, so we can get there together. So if I can help encourage in any way, that's what I want to do. I want to help people get to where they want to go physically, where they feel healthy and good and strong. So for core, I like to use a stability ball or an exercise ball. I used to do sit-ups, but I found they never really engaged my core like I wanted it to. That what's called the rectus abdominis muscle. And what I found really has made all the difference for me is using an exercise ball. So, what this allows is, instead of being like this, where I'm doing a sit-up like this, or a crunch, where I'm going from flat up, now I can go from fully extended, where this muscle right here is fully stretched and put under tension. So that tension really emphasizes how much of that abdominal muscle I'm engaging. So it fully opens up, puts that high tension, and then contracts. You can feel that muscle tense up when you do this. So I'm trying to bring my rib cage to my belly button. So I'm not trying to hinge from the hips, where I pull up like this. I'm trying to bring just my rib cage up towards my belly button and back down. I like to breathe out as I do this, so I'm not compressing air in my lungs. Imagine like a balloon. You wouldn't be able to squeeze a balloon here. So same thing, I'm trying to breathe out to let the air escape and get out of the way. And 10. I found the exercise ball really gets a much better ab workout for me on that. Now your abs will get full range of motion. Yeah, that's awesome. Now I will say, I have tried it on the bench, doing a decline bench for that full range of motion. It is doable, but that's actually too intense for me. I found having a nice big exercise ball gives my back the support while still letting my abs get the full range of motion. If you don't have an exercise ball like this, you could take a pillow and put it underneath your back as well to get a little more of that range. So you're laying like this with a pillow on your back to really emphasize that range of motion a little bit. Whoa. My abs just cramped. I'm gonna need just a second between sets. I might need to stop at 1 set for the abs today. Yeah, so if you don't have an exercise ball, a pillow would work too. There's always ways of playing around with it, seeing what would work for you. Oh man, have you ever had your stomach cramp before? That's difficult. Joint, I'm gonna stop there. I think that I've done enough for my abs with the 1 set. Normally I wouldn't do just 1 set of an exercise, but I don't wanna injure my abdominal wall. So I'm gonna stop at 1, and because I also was working abs in other exercises, and I think they're just overtired. So we're gonna call it a day there, but thank you everyone for being here. Never had that? Yeah, it's not fun. As I was sitting up, I could feel this sort of ripple across my abs. So I know my body is fatigued enough where I've gotten a good workout of my abdominal muscles. I need to stop. But thank you everyone for being here. If you want to be here live, I host these live streams on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 11 a.m. Pacific time. Hope to